Timeless virtues are moral and ethical precepts that are valued and seen as timeless in a variety of nations, cultures, and historical eras. These qualities, which direct people toward moral action and advance the welfare of both individuals and societies, are frequently seen as the cornerstones of moral integrity and good character. Timeless virtues are valued across various cultures and time periods. They transcend specific cultural, religious, or societal norms. These virtues remain relevant and significant over time, regardless of changing social or historical contexts. They form the basis for ethical behavior and moral decision-making, helping individuals discern right from wrong. Examples of timeless virtues include courage, honesty, compassion, justice, humility, perseverance, and wisdom. The importance and application of this include personal development. Timeless virtues contribute to the development of a well-rounded, morally grounded individual. They help people build strong character and navigate life's challenges with integrity. Social harmony is also the result of the characteristics that encourage cooperation, respect, and beneficial interactions within communities. Leadership is of importance because ethical and successful leaders frequently serve as living examples of ageless qualities, motivating followers and directing groups and civilizations toward morally righteous goals. Through preserving ageless values, cultures preserve the moral and ethical traditions that have been passed down through the years. This refers to cultural continuity. The significance of virtues has been highlighted by philosophers, including Immanuel Kant, Confucius, and Aristotle in their ethical views. The moral precepts of numerous world religions such as Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, and Christianity place a strong emphasis on values like justice, humility, and compassion. Ethical decision-making and moral behavior are guided by timeless values. Their capacity to advance societal cohesiveness, personal integrity, and the welfare of people and communities throughout many cultural and historical contexts accounts for their enduring importance. People can have fulfilling and morally upright lives by practicing these virtues. The story of Ruth and Boaz, found in the Book of Ruth in the Bible, is a powerful narrative that exemplifies several timeless virtues. Ruth and Boaz's story is a wonderful example of ageless ideals in action. Their story embodies the timeless values that are honored throughout many countries and eras. Adhering to these principles may result in both individual and collective flourishing. How are virtue in the story of Ruth and Boaz relevant to a Christian? You may ask, but let's note that the main theme of their story is centered on faithfulness and integrity. In our present world, let us take a look at the story of Sarah, a young woman raised in a strict religious community who finds herself utterly alone. Her husband, a pillar of their church, passed away unexpectedly. Now facing a mountain of medical bills and a future shrouded in uncertainty, Sarah wrestles with despair. Can she, like Ruth in the Bible, find kindness and unexpected hope in a world that seems to offer little comfort? In a world rife with uncertainty and societal upheavals, many find themselves grappling with the challenges of loyalty, integrity, and kindness. Let's also imagine a young widow struggling to find her place and purpose in an unfamiliar community, or a prosperous individual faced with the choice of using their resources for personal gain or the betterment of others. These scenarios are not merely hypothetical. They echo the timeless narratives of Boaz and Ruth from the Bible. How do these ancient figures provide us with guidance and inspiration in our contemporary lives? The story of Ruth and Boaz, a seemingly simple tale from the Book of Ruth, offers profound lessons in loyalty, resilience, and the unwavering hand of God in our darkest moments. By examining their characters, we can glean valuable insights that resonate deeply with the challenges faced by Christians today. So, who are Ruth and Boaz, and what wisdom can they impart to Sarah, the young widow or the prosperous individual, and by extension, to us all? Their story, Ruth and Boaz, is a profound exploration of human character and divine providence. Ruth, a Moabite widow, exemplifies unwavering loyalty and faith as she leaves her homeland to support her widowed mother-in-law, Naomi. Boaz, a wealthy landowner in Bethlehem, showcases generosity, integrity, and compassion in his interactions with Ruth. Together, their lives intertwine in a tale that speaks volumes about the virtues of faithfulness, kindness, and redemption. Ruth's story begins with a remarkable act of loyalty. After the death of her husband, she chooses to stay with her mother-in-law, Naomi, rather than returning to her own people. Ruth's declaration, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God," Ruth 1:16, resonates as a profound commitment to family and faith. In today's context, Ruth embodies the spirit of selflessness and devotion that transcends cultural and familial boundaries. For modern Christians, Ruth's example offers a blueprint for navigating the complexities of loyalty and faith. Her decision to align herself with Naomi's God, despite her own cultural background, highlights the inclusive nature of faith and the power of personal choice in spiritual matters. Ruth's unwavering support for Naomi and their shared grief and poverty challenges individuals to consider how they can offer steadfast support to those in need within their communities. Boaz, introduced as a man of standing, Ruth 2:1, plays a pivotal role in Ruth's journey. His initial act of kindness, allowing Ruth to glean in his fields, sets the stage for a deeper relationship characterized by respect and protection. Boaz goes beyond the requirements of the law, ensuring Ruth's safety and providing her with extra provisions. His actions reflect a heart attuned to the needs of the vulnerable and a willingness to use his resources to uplift others. In contemporary society, Boaz's character invites reflection on the use of wealth and influence. His generosity without expectation of return and his respectful treatment of Ruth offer a counter-narrative to the often self-serving pursuit of success. Boaz's integrity, demonstrated through his adherence to cultural and religious obligations, while also extending grace, presents a model for ethical leadership. For Christians, Boaz's example challenges them to consider how they might embody these virtues in their own lives, whether in business, community service, or personal relationships. The story of Boaz and Ruth transcends its historical context to provide enduring lessons for today's world. Their lives illustrate that true faith manifests through actions, Ruth's loyalty and courage, and Boaz's generosity and integrity. These qualities are as relevant as now as they were then, offering a guiding light in a time when many are searching for genuine examples of virtue. In a society often focused on individualism, Ruth's story encourages a commitment to others that prioritizes relational bonds over personal gain. Her faith journey invites Christians to embrace inclusivity and compassion, breaking down barriers of culture and background. Meanwhile, Boaz's actions serve as a reminder of the impact one can have when choosing to act with integrity and kindness. His leadership through service and his protection of the marginalized provide a powerful template for using one's position and resources for the common good. Ultimately, the narratives of Boaz and Ruth call on modern Christians to reflect on their own lives. How can one remain faithful in the face of adversity? What does it mean to be a person of integrity in a competitive world? Through their story, we are reminded that the virtues of loyalty, generosity, and faith are timeless, offering hope and direction in an ever-changing world. I sometimes wonder how these two exemplary individuals fell in love. What even made Ruth and Boaz fall in love in the midst of struggle? Though the Book of Ruth doesn't explicitly detail a passionate, romantic love story, however, it offers glimpses into the development of a strong bond built on respect, kindness, and a shared faith. Here's how I think their characters intertwine and what might have fostered their connection. Their love story is a remarkable narrative that unfolds in the midst of hardship and uncertainty, showcasing how genuine love can blossom from acts of kindness, integrity, and shared faith. Their relationship is not marked by the dramatic romance often depicted in modern stories, but is instead rooted in mutual respect, character, and divine providence. Ruth's journey to Bethlehem was a profound act of loyalty to her mother-in-law Naomi. After the death of her husband, Ruth could have returned to her native Moab and sought a new beginning. Instead, she chose to stay with Naomi, uttering the same purposes and plans. Divine providence refers to the belief that God is actively involved in the world, directing and sustaining all things according to his will. In the narrative of Ruth and Boaz, we see this providence manifested in several key ways. Ruth's decision to stay with her mother-in-law Naomi and journey to Bethlehem is the first significant act of divine providence. She happens to glean in the field of Boaz, a relative of Naomi's late husband. This coincidence is a clear instance of divine providence at work. Boaz's field is not just any field. It is the field of a kinsman redeemer, someone who, according to Jewish law, has the right to marry the widow of a deceased relative to preserve the family lineage. Boaz's acceptance of this responsibility reflects his obedience to God's commands and his compassion for Ruth and Naomi. The ultimate manifestation of divine providence in the story is the birth of Obed, the son of Ruth and Boaz. Obed becomes the grandfather of King David, situating Ruth and Boaz within the lineage of David, and by extension, the genealogy of Jesus Christ. This connection highlights the far-reaching implications of God's providential care. The union of Ruth and Boaz, which began with acts of kindness and loyalty, becomes a crucial link in the fulfillment of God's redemptive plan for humanity. Their meeting and subsequent marriage are portrayed as part of God's greater plan. Naomi recognizes this when she praises God for Boaz's kindness, seeing it as a continuation of divine faithfulness. Ruth 2:20. Their union ultimately leads to the birth of Obed, the grandfather of King David, situating their story within the larger narrative of God's plan for Israel. The story of Boaz and Ruth offers timeless lessons for modern Christians. Their relationship exemplifies how love can grow from acts of kindness, integrity, and shared faith rather than mere physical attraction or romantic gestures. In a world often focused on superficial connections, their story invites reflection on the deeper qualities that sustain meaningful relationships. For those navigating personal struggles, Ruth and Boaz provide a model of resilience, compassion, and divine trust. Their love story encourages believers to cultivate relationships grounded in respect, mutual support, and faith in God's providence. It reminds us that even in the midst of hardship, genuine love can flourish, bringing hope and purpose. In essence, Boaz and Ruth's love is a testament to the power of character and divine orchestration. Their story continues to inspire, showing that true love is not just about feelings, but about actions that reflect God's love and faithfulness. Destitute, empty-handed, and alone, the unseen sovereign hand of a faithful father guided their footsteps. Boaz and Ruth's inspiring story moves from despair to hope and foreshadows Jesus' own redemption for us. Inspiration for Christian couples also flows through the parallels of our redemption by Jesus Christ. We too were empty-handed and lost. Jesus Christ willingly paid the price for our salvation. He became like us, taking on humanity but without sin. While once we were destitute and broken, we now have hope. When we look again at Ruth's decision to leave Moab and follow Naomi to Bethlehem, it was not just an act of loyalty, but also a significant leap of faith. By moving to Bethlehem, Ruth entered a society where she was a foreigner, which could have subjected her to discrimination and isolation. Her adaptability and courage in embracing a new culture and religion are pivotal. This adaptability showcases Ruth's strength and willingness to take risks for the sake of love and family, qualities that resonate with those facing cultural and societal barriers today. Boaz's actions towards Ruth are also rooted in the cultural practices of his time. The concept of gleaning, where the poor and foreigners were allowed to gather leftover grains in the fields, was a provision in the Mosaic law designed to support the vulnerable. Boaz not only follows this law, but exceeds its expectations. His behavior reflects a deep sense of social responsibility and justice, highlighting the importance of going beyond mere compliance to actively promote the welfare of others. This perspective encourages modern Christians to reflect on their own roles in social justice and compassion. Boaz's integrity is not just a personal attribute, but also a public reputation. He is known as a man of standing in his community, which means his actions were consistent with his character. This integrity makes him a trustworthy figure in Ruth's life. Similarly, Ruth's reputation as a virtuous woman precedes her, with the community recognizing her loyalty to Naomi. This mutual respect for each other's reputations and integrity forms a strong foundation for their relationship. In today's context, this underscores the importance of building and maintaining a good character and reputation for fostering healthy and respectful relationships. Kindness is a recurring theme in the relationship between Boaz and Ruth. Boaz's initial kindness toward Ruth is what sets their relationship in motion. He offers her protection and ensures she has enough to eat, which are acts of kindness that go beyond societal expectations. Ruth responds to this kindness with gratitude and humility, further strengthening their bond. This reciprocal kindness illustrates how small acts of generosity and compassion can pave the way for deeper connections. For contemporary Christians, it's a reminder that genuine kindness can break down barriers and build lasting relationships. Throughout the story, there is a subtle but powerful theme of divine providence. The timing of Ruth's arrival in Boaz's field and Boaz's willingness to act as a kinsman redeemer are portrayed as divinely orchestrated events. This highlights the belief that God is at work behind the scenes, guiding events according to his purpose. For modern believers, this perspective encourages trust in God's plan, even when the path seems uncertain. It suggests that faithfulness and integrity will ultimately be rewarded, even if they are not immediately apparent. The union of Boaz and Ruth does not just provide immediate relief and security, but also sets the stage for a significant legacy. Their son, Obed, becomes the grandfather of King David, situating their story within the broader narrative of God's redemption plan. This legacy underscores the idea that acts of faith and integrity can have far-reaching impacts beyond one's lifetime. For Christians today, it's a powerful reminder that their actions, motivated by faith and kindness, can contribute to a legacy of faithfulness and influence future generations. May the story of Boaz and Ruth continue to inspire and guide us, drawing us closer to the virtues that define a life of faith and integrity. Amen. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe for more. Your feedback is valuable, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with others who might find it helpful.